Quiet girl destroys school bully after he rips her shirt in front of everyone. A story by Heartfelt Tales. The sound of Maya's lunch tray crashing to the floor echoed through the cafeteria like a gunshot. 300 pairs of eyes turned toward her as she stood frozen, her white undershirt now visible through the torn fabric of her favorite blue sweater. The laughter started small, then grew like a wildfire, consuming every corner of the room until it felt like the walls themselves were mocking her. If this story moved you, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to Heartfelt Tales for more inspiring stories that touch the heart. Maya Chen had always been the quiet one. At 15, she preferred the company of books to people, finding solace in the pages of fantasy novels where heroes always triumphed and bullies always got their comeuppance. Her mother worked double shifts at the hospital, leaving Maya to navigate the treacherous waters of high school mostly alone. She'd learned to keep her head down, blend into the background, and avoid drawing attention to herself at all costs. But Tyler Morrison had other plans. Tyler was everything Maya wasn't. Tall, athletic, popular, and cruel in the way that only teenage boys with too much privilege and too little supervision could be. He'd been targeting Maya since freshman year, but his attacks had escalated recently. What started as occasional name-calling had evolved into daily harassment, and Maya felt herself shrinking more with each passing day. The cafeteria incident happened on a Tuesday. Maya had been carrying her tray of soggy pizza and chocolate milk when Tyler deliberately stuck his foot out, sending her tumbling. As she fell, he grabbed the back of her sweater and yanked, tearing the delicate fabric and exposing her undershirt to the entire cafeteria. The humiliation was instant and overwhelming. "Nice fashion statement, Chen," Tyler sneered, high-fiving his friends as Maya scrambled to gather her scattered lunch and cover herself. "Maybe next time wear something that actually fits." The laughter felt like physical blows. Maya's face burned with shame as she clutched the torn edges of her sweater together. She could feel tears threatening to spill, but she refused to give Tyler the satisfaction of seeing her cry. Not again. That night, Maya sat in her bedroom, staring at the ruined sweater in her hands. It had been a gift from her grandmother before she passed away last year, one of the few nice things Maya owned. Now it was destroyed, just like her dignity. She thought about telling her mother, but Mrs. Chen was already stretched thin, working 60-hour weeks to keep their small apartment and put food on the table. Maya couldn't add to her mother's burdens. She thought about telling a teacher, but what would they do? Give Tyler a slap on the wrist? Make him apologize? The humiliation would remain, burned into the memory of everyone who witnessed it. Maya felt trapped, powerless, and utterly alone. But something shifted that night as she sat in the darkness. Maybe it was the way moonlight fell across her grandmother's photo on the nightstand, or maybe it was the memory of her grandmother's voice telling her stories about women who refused to be victims. Her grandmother had fled war-torn Vietnam with nothing but the clothes on her back and an iron will to survive. She'd faced down discrimination, poverty, and loss with unwavering strength. "You have tiger blood in your veins, little one," her grandmother used to say. Never forget that. Maya had forgotten, but she was remembering now. The next few days passed in a blur of planning and preparation. Maya researched self-defense techniques online, practicing moves in her bedroom when her mother was at work. She'd always been small, but she was also quick and smart. More importantly, she was done being a victim. She also began documenting Tyler's behavior. Every cruel comment, every accidental shove, every public humiliation. She recorded what she could on her phone and wrote down what she couldn't. If she was going to take a stand, she wanted evidence. The opportunity came the following Monday. Maya was sitting alone at her usual table in the corner of the cafeteria when Tyler and his crew approached. She'd anticipated this, had even worn her grandmother's jade bracelet for luck. Well, if it isn't the fashion disaster, Tyler announced loudly, ensuring maximum audience participation. What's wrong, Chen? Mommy couldn't afford to buy you a new shirt? Maya looked up calmly, her dark eyes meeting his without flinching. Actually, Tyler, I wanted to thank you. Tyler's smirk faltered slightly. This wasn't the cowering response he'd expected. Thank me? For what? For helping me realize something important about myself. Maya stood slowly, her hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. I realized that I'm tired of letting cowards like you make me feel small. The cafeteria had gone quiet, sensing the shift in dynamic. Tyler's friends exchanged uncertain glances. This wasn't the Maya they knew. You think you're tough now? Tyler laughed, but it sounded forced. You're still the same pathetic loser you've always been. Maybe, Maya said quietly. But at least I'm not a coward who picks on people smaller than me to feel better about myself. Tyler's face flushed red. What did you just say to me? I said you're a coward, Maya repeated, her voice carrying across the silent cafeteria. And a bully. And honestly, I feel sorry for you. That's when Tyler made his mistake. Rage overtook whatever sense he might have had, and he lunged forward, grabbing Maya by the shoulders and shoving her backward. It was exactly what she'd been waiting for. Maya's grandmother had taught her that sometimes the smallest person in the room could have the biggest impact if they knew how to use momentum and leverage. As Tyler shoved her, Maya grabbed his wrists, dropped her weight, and used his own forward motion against him. The move was perfect, textbook even. Tyler went flying over Maya's crouched form, his momentum carrying him straight onto the cafeteria table behind her. The impact was spectacular. Trays scattered, food flew everywhere, and Tyler landed sprawled across the table like a defeated giant. The cafeteria erupted in chaos. Some students screamed, others cheered, and still others pulled out their phones to record the aftermath. Maya stood calmly in the center of it all, her heart pounding but her expression serene. I tried to handle this quietly, she said, her voice somehow carrying over the noise. But you wouldn't let me. So here we are. Tyler groaned, trying to extract himself from the mess of spilled food and broken trays. His face was covered in mashed potatoes, and his carefully styled hair was dripping with chocolate milk. The image was so absurd that even some of his friends were struggling not to laugh. You're insane, he sputtered, finally getting to his feet. I'm going to get you expelled for this. With what proof? Maya asked calmly, pulling out her phone. Because I have plenty of proof of what you've been doing to me. Would you like to see? She began playing one of the videos she'd recorded, Tyler's cruel laughter echoing through the cafeteria as he called her names and knocked her books from her hands. The crowd fell silent as they watched, many of them realizing for the first time the extent of Tyler's cruelty. I have weeks of this, Maya continued, her voice steady and clear. Every cruel comment, every public humiliation, every time you made me feel worthless. I documented it all. So please, by all means, let's get the administration involved. I'd love to have that conversation. Tyler's face had gone pale beneath the food stains. He looked around the cafeteria, perhaps hoping for support from his friends, but they were all avoiding eye contact. The balance of power had shifted completely. "This isn't over," he muttered, but the words sounded hollow. "Yes, it is," Maya replied firmly. "It's been over since the moment you decided to push me too far. You just didn't know it yet." As Tyler slunk away, his friends trailing behind him like deflated balloons, Maya felt something she hadn't experienced in years: pride. Not the destructive kind that comes from putting others down, but the quiet satisfaction of standing up for herself and refusing to be a victim. The aftermath wasn't without consequences. Maya did end up in the principal's office, but armed with her documentation and the testimony of several witnesses who'd grown tired of Tyler's behavior, she faced minimal punishment. Tyler, on the other hand, was suspended for a week and ordered to attend anger management counseling. More importantly, something fundamental had changed in the social ecosystem of the school. Maya's stand had given other victims of bullying permission to speak up. Students who'd been suffering in silence began coming forward with their own stories. Tyler's reign of terror was effectively over. Maya's mother was initially shocked when she heard about the incident, but after seeing the evidence of what her daughter had endured, she was fiercely proud. "Your grandmother would be so proud," she said, hugging Maya tightly. "You found your tiger blood." The weeks that followed brought unexpected changes to Maya's life. Students who'd never spoken to her before began approaching her in the hallways, thanking her for her courage. She made new friends, genuine ones who appreciated her quiet strength and dry sense of humor. Her grades improved as the constant stress of harassment lifted from her shoulders. But perhaps the most significant change was internal. Maya walked differently now, with her shoulders back and her head held high. She'd learned that she was stronger than she'd ever imagined, that she deserved respect, and that sometimes the only way to stop a bully was to stand up and fight back. The torn sweater still hung in her closet, unworn but not forgotten. It served as a reminder of who she'd been and how far she'd come. Sometimes the greatest victories came from the deepest defeats, and sometimes the quiet ones were the fiercest fighters of all. Maya Chen had found her voice, and she was never going to let anyone silence it again. If Maya's story of courage and resilience inspired you, please show your support by hitting the like button, sharing this video with friends who might need to hear this message, and letting us know in the comments what this story meant to you. Your engagement helps us continue sharing these heartfelt tales that remind us all of the strength we carry within. Don't forget to subscribe to Heartfelt Tales and ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Thank you for watching, and remember, you're stronger than you know, ***.